Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and here on this channel we talk about writing, journaling, and productivity to help you curate a life that you love. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I've mentioned before and I've kind of touched on, but I haven't really gone into it, and that is accountability. Now, for most things in life, accountability can help you to stay accountable for yourself. It can help you to achieve your goals, practice self-discipline, and make things a habit, get into a routine. And journaling is no different. I think people often think of accountability partners or accountability when they think of working out or eating healthy or some other form of self-care. And technically, journaling could be considered a form of self-care, and I think that often a lot of people can't stick with it because they lack that accountability. So today I wanted to talk about how to go about accountability either with your friends, family when it comes to journaling, or even by yourself, because personally I don't really have a lot of people to keep me accountable, so it's something that I have to practice for myself, and I'm going to share with you how I do so. Before we get into today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you like this journaling content, these journaling tips videos. It lets me know that you guys enjoy them and want to see more of them, so that's super important. Hit that like button if you like it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more journaling, scrapbooking, art journaling, all that kind of stuff, those topics like this. So yeah. Alright, well without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. So first things first, I kind of want to cover the basics on what accountability is, you know, a little bit. I'm not going to go through like dictionary definitions, but kind of about what it is and why it works specifically for journaling. So again, a lot of people think of accountability as someone kind of being there saying, hey, did you work out today? Hey, do you want to go work out with me? Or something like that. To help you to achieve your goal and to remain consistent in your habits. Accountability in journaling is pretty much the same thing, where someone or even yourself, just somehow, you are able to find accountability, as in having someone check in or you check in with yourself to ensure that you are doing the habit, so that way it can become a routine. The reason that accountability works when it comes to journaling or really any aspect of your life is simply because often a lot of us lack the self-discipline needed to maintain a habit. We get very caught up in the day-to-day life troubles, you know, things that happen every day, and it's easy to forget about the new things we want to implement. So when it comes to journaling, it's a new habit, it's a new hobby, it's something that you want to do, but you're not always thinking about it, and there are days where you completely forget. And this still happens to me. As a person who's been journaling for quite a bit, this definitely happens. I think this is most notable with my dream journal, which is right here actually. This is where I really notice it, because in my dream journal, which I just started to do again, I have skipped several days. Now, yes, sometimes I skip because I can't remember my dream, and therefore I have nothing to write. But even on days where I remember, I end up skipping because I forget about it. And so therefore I need to practice more accountability with myself or with others to make this a habit. The reason that accountability works is simply because you're reminded of the thing that you want to do, and then you have a choice. I think that often we forget, and then there's no choice because you forgot about it, so then you don't do it. But if you remember, if someone tells you or you tell yourself, then you're able to think, okay, this is the thing I want to do, so I'm going to do it, or this is the thing I want to do, but today I'm not going to do it. But it's a choice that you end up making at that time, and the accountable part is being able to be reminded of the habit that you're doing. Okay, so enough about what accountability is and what it's not and all that nitty-gritty. Let's get into how you can go about being accountable with yourself and using others to be accountable for journaling every single day. One of the easiest ways, and like the first thing that I come to when I think of accountability in journaling, is to get a journaling partner. If you can, if you have friends who are interested in journaling as well, this is probably the best solution. This is honestly the easiest way to maintain accountability and to get journaling to become a habit, because you have someone else who is on this journey with you who wants to journal every single day or once a week, whatever you guys end up coming to when it comes to journaling. And it's just one of those things that, like, if you have someone else doing it with you, it's so much easier. I actually had a journaling accountability partner not too long ago, my friend was taking a class in college where they had to journal either once a week or, in little bursts. She preferred to journal for 20 minutes once a week on Sundays, so I ended up joining her, and basically what she did was she would send out a message saying, hey guys, today we're doing our 20-minute journal, don't forget to do that, and then everybody would do it. The reason it worked for her so well was because she was getting graded on this, so she had to do it for the class. So that's one way to be accountable technically, is to have someone force it on you. If you don't do it, there's a bad consequence, which for her would have been a bad grade, for example. So that's one way to think about it, but we don't all have that luxury with our grades on the line, or we don't all want to have a consequence if we don't journal. You could make something like that, but again, we're not talking about that. We are talking about having a journaling partner. So my friend, she would message a group, it was me and one other girl, and she would tell us that, hey guys, don't forget to journal today. Sometimes we would write back to her being like, hey, don't forget, if she didn't message early enough, or vice versa. Usually I try to reply back every time being like, thanks for the update, so she knew that I was actually doing it to help keep me accountable. So every Sunday for 20 minutes I would journal, and that was often because she was doing it too and I was reminded. Something else you could do is honestly FaceTime, Zoom chat, or just, Skype a friend and journal together. You don't have to read your prompts or anything. You don't have to read what you wrote. You could literally just journal face to face. That way you are accountable. Another way, of course, is just to message each other and just be like, hey, don't forget your daily journal, or hey, don't forget your weekly journal, and you guys could message each other back and forth to do that. Having a journaling partner, someone who's on this journey with you, is so valuable. For one, you're both pushing each other to continue, and you could share your thoughts, your learnings with each other if you wanted to, but of course there's no pressure. But just having that person who's going through it as well, who's invested just as much as you are to perform this habit, however often you guys choose, is so beneficial to making journaling become a habit for you. So my next tip for accountability and journaling, if you don't have anybody that wants to journal with you, is to simply have a family member or a friend who is there to act as an accountability partner for you, even if they're not on the journey with you. By this I mean asking, say, your mom, your dad, your sibling, your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, just asking them to remind you to journal, say once a day, once a week, just whenever. Having this accountability in this way, it's not as motivating, but it is still motivating because someone else is holding you accountable for your actions. They are asking you to do it, they're reminding you to do it, and it kind of pushes you to do the thing, to journal. My boyfriend specifically does this with me. Again, my dream journal is pretty new. I'm supposed to dream journal every morning if I can remember my dreams, and I have also slacked off quite a bit, but he has reminded me almost every morning to do it, and that has kept me accountable and has kept me in the habit of writing down my dreams. The way I dream journal isn't super in-depth. It's really not that hard. I take about 5 minutes every morning, but it's something that I easily forget to do, and often I forget the dreams, or I just forget to sit down for 5 minutes before breakfast and just write down my dreams before I forget them. But having him tell me each and every morning, hey, don't forget to write down your dreams. Hey, what dreams did you have? Are you gonna write it down? It's really helpful to keep myself going with this nice momentum to continue journaling. Speaking of momentum, the reason that having someone else tell you to continue journaling, even if they're not doing it themselves, is because you will lose momentum. It's really easy to be all in when it comes to journaling, no matter how you do it, whether you're starting an art journal, junk journal, scrapbook, whether you're starting a regular journal, a dream journal, anything. It's really easy to just go all in and give it your all, give it, all this momentum, and then you end up losing that as time passes and you become less interested, less inclined to do it because it's no longer exciting. And having someone there to tell you, hey, don't forget to do this today, it's very beneficial to you because even if you've lost your momentum, they're there to remind you that this is what you're doing and this is why you're doing it. Let's kind of switch gears for a second and imagine that we don't really have anybody who can keep us accountable. For whatever reason, our friends are forgetful, our family members stop reminding us after a week or a month, however long, and it just kind of falls off and suddenly we're not journaling anymore. Well, the next thing you have to do is be accountable for yourself. And for a lot of us, that's kind of how it is. For me, That's how it is. There are always days where I have to keep myself accountable, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. And if you don't have anyone else to remind you or to journal with you, then you're gonna have to rely on yourself. And so here is the way that I do this. When I first start a new journal, whether that be like a dream journal, plant journal, like just something new, then I set an alarm. And this is something that I haven't done recently. I haven't had to do it with my dream journal, but I only add one journal at a time. So like right now I have 3 that I'm rotating between, but still. Setting an alarm can be super helpful if you are by yourself and you have to journal by yourself. Basically, pick a time during the day. It could be morning, midday, evening, whatever you choose. Pick a time to journal and set aside however long, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Honestly, that's up to you. And that's when you should do your journaling. So set an alarm on your phone to go off at that time, and then step away for a second and just set another timer, journal for however long, and then you're done. Doing the alarm either once a week, every day, every other day is helpful because it's easy to forget, and that's honestly the reason that accountability is so important when it comes to journaling, is because we are forgetful. So it makes it easier to journal every day if you have an alarm and something that reminds you. It kind of goes back to Atomic Habits, which I read a while back and I've gushed about it a ton, but in that book there are 4 parts of to make something become a habit, and the first one is the cue, and the cue in this example would be the alarm. You need something to cue your response, and your response should be to journal. And then of course there's the rest of the habit loop, but if you want to read that book, I'll link it down below, but it's a whole thing. But just to go back on this topic, you need something to spark your remembrance, something to happen to encourage you to act, in this case, to journal. Okay, and so then my next tip, which is aside from like cues and stuff, is how to help yourself stay accountable by using a different tactic. So the reason that my friend was able to journal once a week is because she had a consequence if she didn't. And I will say that if you are a person who works better with consequences, then you might want to have some sort of punishment, I guess, if you don't journal. I wouldn't recommend it personally because I think journaling should be something fun and should be something rewarding, and so therefore I wouldn't punish myself if I didn't do it. But if you are someone who works better that way, then you could come up with some kind of creative solution. Maybe have your parents, I don't know, take away your phone for 30 minutes and during that time you could journal. Just saying. Or you could have some other punishment. Maybe you tell yourself, okay, no Netflix show tonight, I'm journaling because I didn't do it earlier. Those kinds of consequences. But moving aside from consequences, you can think of rewards. Reward systems are a great way to convince yourself to keep journaling, because as you reward yourself for doing something that is helpful to you, you'll want to do it more often. People often operate on kicks versus cookies. This is something that my journalism teacher taught me in high school. Some people need the consequences, kicks, and other people need reward systems like cookies. So you could quite literally give yourself a cookie every time you journal, or you could watch your favorite show, or, you know, listen to your favorite song. Just do something that you love, something that's leisure-like, something that's fun, that is separate from journaling, and do that right afterwards to reward yourself for journaling. This is a great way to keep yourself on track. I think a lot of people also like habit trackers where you can color in like little bubbles and stuff every time you journal, so that way you can go back and look at your progress. It's very rewarding for whatever reason, and it's very satisfying to know that you did such a great job and you stayed on track and focused with a habit. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with this one, is to say that for this particular tip, try to reward yourself, find some way to track your progress, to give yourself some reward after you journal, because then you'll be more likely to do it again in the future. Over time, you probably won't need any accountability like partners or, you know, habit trackers and stuff. Once journaling becomes a habit, of course it's really hard to make things become a habit. It's hard to break bad habits and it's hard to start new ones, but it is possible, and I think that there are several ways to go about it. If you want more ideas on how to maintain journaling as a habit, please let me know in the comments below, because I have a few other ideas that I haven't mentioned on this channel, or ideas that I feel like I can go in depth with. I just kind of need to know whether that would be helpful or not. Anyway, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I would love to come up with some kind of accountability system within my little group. I don't know when or if I'll ever do that, but it is something that I'm interested in. I hope that my videos help you to stay accountable. Maybe you could journal once a week whenever my Tuesday video comes out. I don't know. You could. That could be a way of accountability. So, yeah, thank you again for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you later.